Hi guys, this is Jason from Excel Performance. I want to share with you today my 3 favorite exercises to improve core strength. Now, these aren't the only exercises. These are just exercises I really like because I think they make you really strong, pretty much all round, and it kind of touches bases on the main muscles in core. Okay, not everything, but the main muscles. And so the first one is leg raise. So laying leg raises are really great for developing core strength. Now, the idea here is when you're doing them isn't to be arching your back as you're sort of raising your legs up and coming down. What we're really looking to do is actually maintain this position as we're moving our legs around. So that's really key for that exercise. Doing a leg raise and then having your back arching and opening and shutting isn't ideal. It really goes against kind of core strength for what we want. Core strength for us is actually going to be anything that is trying to maintain stability all around this area. So that's also hip stability and thoracic stability as well. And we just want to, this should be strong enough to keep all this really still while we do anything. If we're running, or if we're squatting, or whatever it is we're doing, we really want this to be nice and solid. If it's not solid, what we tend to find is that we start to get power leaks. So power leaks are like if we're producing a certain amount of force, but it's not showing because we are moving too much through here. And what that means is, like, say if you're running, and then as you take a stride and you arch your back and you're striding, now what happens is your force isn't being transferred as well because you're actually losing it here. Whereas if this stays really stiff and then you actually run, what actually happens is that the force gets transferred a lot better and doesn't get lost through the core. It's like using, like I always say, it's like using a piece of bamboo to sort of wedge something open, or you could use a crowbar to wedge something open. The bamboo isn't going to do as good a job because it bends. The crowbar is going to do a great job because it doesn't bend at all. It just stays stiff and is a lot more effective. And you will be too if you can be really solid and stable. The next exercise I really like doing is the back extension. So this is probably a part of the core that people don't really think about too much. When we think about core, we usually think about abs or obliques, but we don't really think about the lower back. So the way we train this one is the same thing that we're trying to look for in the leg raise, is to use muscles but to stay stable through our midsection. So when we do the back extension, like you see Steph doing in this video, it looks like this and not like this. So we don't come down and we don't arch our back to bring ourselves up. What we're looking to do is try to keep this tight and use our bum muscles and our hamstrings independently. So that means that they all work and our back will work, but it'll only work to stay still, not to actually move, not to like arch and to round, if that makes sense. So those are the two that I really like. The third one, which is really cool, is wood chop. A cable wood chop or power band wood chop, or any sort of rotational exercise is fine. And any other variation of those exercises are fine too. These are just 3 that I really like because they're just easy to set up and they work really well. So that's all. Anything else is cool. I'm really a fan of any exercise as long as it works. So I'm never really against anything as such. So the wood chop, the cable wood chop, which you're going to see Steph do, is a rotational exercise. And what that means though for us is that we're actually not looking to rotate through our midsection necessarily here. What we're looking to do again is to maintain this position, don't rotate through it, hold it, and try to move the cable around us without actually twisting through our torso. And this is really cool. This is what we call like anti-rotation, right? So to stop ourselves from rotating, but whilst moving the thing around us. And so this could be really effective, you know, when you're getting tackled, or when you're tackling someone, or just fending off someone, or just in general. I mean, obliques they're responsible for rotation and side flexion. So anything that could disrupt you in either one of those ways, which is usually like getting tackled, and there's a lot of things I'm not really even mentioning, I can't even think to talk about right now. but they can really help out, and they're it's responsible for a lot of your stability. And if you're not well developed in that way, you could actually find that you might actually be easily tackled, or you might not be producing as much power as you could because you're not really well developed through your obliques. So those are my three favorite ones. These are the three favorite ones. And you know, again, there's different variations. There's lots of different core exercises you could do. You could argue to say, like, you know, farmer's carries are really good core exercises, and you know, if you said that, I would totally agree. But if you felt like you just had a specific weakness in each of those three muscle groups, that would probably be those are my kind of go-tos, because you know, doing a farmer's carry or some of the bigger core exercises, they're so broad. They're so broad that you're using so many different muscles that it's hard to pinpoint and target one to kind of keep it switched on. And this is an easy way to kind of bring it back and really work on the finer stuff, the finer muscles. Like so you can, in a leg raise, mostly just focus on keeping your abs tight whilst you move your legs, as opposed to trying to keep your abs tight, your obliques tight, your lower back tight, and everything tight whilst you use a farmer's carry and walk. You know, it just gives us one thing to worry about, not everything else, you know. But that's it. Those are my three go-to exercises. If you have any questions about those, please just inbox me, message me on Instagram, Facebook, or email us back. And if you got any questions related to this or anything else, doesn't have to be this in particular, you know, I'll be happy to get back to you personally and answer you as best I can. If I can't answer you, I'll send you to someone who might know better than I do. So yeah, I'll talk to you guys next time.